Welcome back, everyone. Tom Grisafi, Ag Bull Media, Ag Bull Trading. We got the one and only Mr. Wiesemeyer waiting behind. I dressed up. It's President's Weekend. I have the flag behind me. I'm not running for any office. I'm just running for my life. I can't wait for Mr. Wiesemeyer to tell us everything that's happened. He was so busy traveling, and word is he may have had the sniffles last week, so we weren't able to record. But he is alive and well, regardless of the rumors. They had him. The media was going wild for what happened to Jim Wiesemeyer, but I could tell you in 30 seconds, he'll be right here. Stay there. Mr. Jim Wiesemeyer.
We're back.
See, the rumors weren't true. If you end up, how's that line go? If you end up reading headlines, you end up selling papers or something like that.
Well, it wound up being not the COVID, not the flu, but
RSV
a
or anything?
very bad cold.
Yeah,
Very
well, you
bad.
travel so much. I'm amazed you stay as healthy as you do. They say it's good to get out there, though. Get those kids who never go to school. When little kids go to kindergarten, they get real sick, but by first grade, they're all better. Well,
And I'll be in the Ozarks Tuesday, Wednesday this coming week, Missouri Pork Conference.
sounds good. How's the food there? I know you always judge things
Oh,
by
it's
the food
always
and the
good
drinks
there.
and stuff.
Always
Yeah,
good with the Missouri pork producers. Absolutely.
let's not mess around here. We got a good list of stuff to do, and
Yes.
let's get into it. Let's start right here, Jim.
Okay.
House Farm Bill 2.0 finally released.
They released it about, let's see, for about an hour and a half ago. The text and the summaries, and we're not going to go through all that. There's nothing major, I don't think, that's not in it that we haven't talked about before. What I want to talk about is what the next step is, because I don't think the votes are there on the House floor. They may not even be. I think they'll be able to get it out of the committee,
Mm-hmm.
but on the House floor, if it gets there, there's going to be about 40 Republicans who vote against this bill, Tommy. So that
Why did they
means,
do that, Jim?
well, just typically Republicans, that number just don't. The conservatives spending too much money, whatever philosophy on programs. So that's why you usually have a bipartisan vote for any farm bill, but it's not usual nowadays. And so listen to the ranking member, Angie Craig
Mm-hmm.
from Minnesota. She's going to run for the Senate. She'll be in a close primary in Minnesota. Listen to what she says, because if she continues to be very negative about what's in the Republican written Farm Bill 2.0, I wouldn't give this much odds. So that's kind of my bottom line. We need it. There's some good things in there. Farm credit programs, etc. But with this environment on Capitol Hill so surly, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. So I just wanted to put perspective on that. And next week I'll be covering some of the summaries of the House Republican bill, but I don't want to spend too much time on it, Tommy.
Let's do the next one. Farm programs, Jim.
We have a series here. USDA this week finalized what we call the ELRP, the Emergency Livestock Relief Program, a top-up payment, an additional 8.2%. So that raises the total factor to 43.2% for eligible 23 and 24 livestock disaster losses. A producer does not have to do any action required besides filing by November the 2nd this year. So
Okay.
this is cash flow. The next one is I was on a
Farmer
couple.
Bridge.
Yes, the Farmer Bridge Assistance. Remember, they said when they announced this, the payments would come no later than February 28th.
That's not that far away. We're
Not that far away
you
at
know what
all.
today is, Jim? You know what today is?
It's the 13th.
Yeah,
13th.
yeah. All right.
Now,
Yeah.
I was on a Zoom call this week to the Washington wheat growers.
Okay.
Good crowd, and somebody came on, and a lady, and very nice lady, and she said her checks with, I guess, FSA offices said they're not even going to be trained in time to get this out.
I believe
Well,
that.
so I checked with USDA on that one, and here's what I was told. Comes from an official quote: "We are still on track for timely farmer bridge assistance. This is an extremely simple program with limited, if any, complexity. Our staff will be trained prior to the rollout on February the 23rd." So they're kind of signaling to me that this is going to come out on the 23rd, and the FSA people will be schooled, if you will, at least a few days before that. And I don't think it's going to be that complex either. So,
Mhm.
like, the money is going to run as soon as February the 23rd.
And also, Jim, I know like when I filed my taxes last year, my accountant insisted I give him a check and fill out the paperwork to have the ACH form. We filed my taxes, and I don't know how the government was like, I extended them and we're closed, and the money just ended up back in my checking account because of that ACH form. So I would imagine a lot of farmers have digital forms set up to plop that money right in a checking account, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
All right,
And
let's
the
move
next
on.
one, we have the Conservation Reserve Program. USDA opened up a general and continuous CRP sign up, but the acreage is nearing the cap. So we're only shy about 1.9 million acres, Tommy. So again, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I think US Congress will eventually take a look at that cap. Maybe they're going to have to raise it. We'll see. But the bottom line here is at least they're opening it up, but not many acres are going to come into that new, because we have some maturing acres as well.
Very good. Year-round E15. This is a hot topic, Jim.
Yeah, because by February the 15th, which is coming up, they're supposed to have legislation, this a new coalition that they worked up in Congress in order to, they think, appease the year-round E15 lobbyists. But the naysayers to year-round E15 are saying they have issues with this, Tommy.
Why?
They want reform of the Renewable Fuel Standard program. So these are mainly the smaller refiners are saying this. Their concern is the large integrated oil companies often have the blending capacity in retail networks that generate RINs, but the independent refiners frequently must buy RINs on the open market. And when the RINs spike, the smaller refiners say margins can really compress rapidly. So they want to reform the program. Now, most people say that's not a valid argument, that this is not a mandate. It's just offering as an option for year-round E15. So,
yes, sir. I'm going to let you catch your breath, get a drink of water. I'm going to tell everyone about premium content. I'm going to mute your mic. You cough away over there. Mr. Wiesemeyer, he getting healthy. He wanted to work so bad last week, but we wouldn't let him. All right. Real quick, folks, we have premium content, www.agbull.com, $25 a month, $250 annually. Thanks to the new subscribers. Of course, Mr. Wiesemeyer's content is on the Ag Bull Trading website. So if you want to go see previous Wiesemeyer perspectives, obviously it's on YouTube. But as Jim puts out his dailies, just go to the Ag Bull website and you can see as fast as those come out, my team releases them there. And you can join Jim's list. That's at the bottom, Jim's newsletter, Wiesemeyer at Gmail, or you can go to Ag Bull. We're getting them out. And that is all free information. Of course, the premium content is pay for. And those are other videos. We have some really new, exciting people that are going to be starting in a week or two. I don't want to spill my hand. One episode we did yesterday that was premium content was the Land Talker, and Iowa land prices strike new all-time highs. If you'd like to see that episode, subscribe. $25 a month, $250 annually. All right, back to the show. I think he's coughed, hacked, got a sip of water.
Yeah, but
We'll
I
take
do
his.
want to point out the
Yeah.
positives of going to E15, year-round
Okay.
E15. It'll boost domestic ethanol demand. It'll reduce reliance on imported petroleum, and it'll support rural economies. So what's wrong with that?
Mm-mm.
Eventually, they're gonna hopefully have the right vehicle up on Capitol Hill. Some must-pass spending bill to say, okay, let's offer this, because Tommy, we need increased domestic utilization to whittle down some of the corn carryover. So let's just hope this goes. But they're still warring between the different sides on this one. So I don't like the current odds, but I think the lobbyists for year-round ethanol have their work to do, but they've done it before. So let's see them, get it done eventually.
Yeah, well, let's keep the optimism going. We had Jan Jobs and CPI report. That report was a little late because of the government shutdown for a few days, correct?
It was, but the January report from the administration's position was probably about as good as they possibly could get.
Okay.
Now, what that showed you was that the economy's better than most people think. And this morning, we got the consumer CPI report,
Mm-hmm.
consumer price index. And again, it showed price growth cooled to a 2.4% annual rate. That's the slowest rate of inflation since May. So that means that price pressures are easing as households continue to increase their wages above the rate of inflation. And that's the affordability angle, Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the White House will want to really brag on this one. I know Trump already did it today. The monthly increase was 0.2%. That's also modest, and it was below expectations. Now, the next one, Tommy, is what's the Fed going to do about this? The next FOMC meeting, Federal Open Market Committee meeting, is March 17th and 18th.
And this guy's still the boss, right? Jay
Yeah,
Powell?
Jay Powell, yeah. And they're not going to, and the market is fully expecting no change in interest rates. So after they cut interest rates 3 times last year, Fed officials they're pausing further reductions. Now, when these reports came out this week, prior to that, the bond market was signaling they thought the first rate cut this calendar year would be June, in the June 16th, 17th FOMC meeting. Now it could come a month later, July 28th, 29th. So it may take another month before the Fed starts lowering the rates. Jay Powell's term ends May the 15th. But this is a consensus building committee, so we're good. We're going to have a lot of data between now and then. But right now, the U.S. economy is showing 3%, 3.5% gross domestic product, and that's a pretty good thing. So we need to go from Wall Street to Main Street in this economy.
And Jim, I popped up. The CME Group has this nice tool, folks. It's free. If you're out there listening, send me a message and say, yeah, thanks for telling me about that FedWatch tool. See there, it says 32 days, 21 hours, 55 minutes, 16 seconds. And what Jim was saying about, oh, they think it's here, they think it's there, that comes through all this prettiness, these little bars, right?
Absolutely. And that shows you what the market has built in. And it changes all the time, as you know, Tommy.
Yeah, like odds on a football game. They're favored by 3 points. They're favored by 23. That's what these bars are. And Jim, options are no different than sports betting's no different than betting on corn. Someone makes the odds, and you get to play your wager. So I want to pull that up. CME FedWatch tool. Just Google CME FedWatch.
Sure. Next one. I
Next
think we
one.
have
Survey
Cargill.
says Cargill. Yes, sir. Yeah, what happened here?
Well, the move, they said they're going to plan to close their ground beef processing facility in Milwaukee. That marks the end of more than 2 decades at that Wisconsin
Hmm.
operations at the Wisconsin site. It wasn't a kill facility. So that's one thing. But it's going to eliminate 221 jobs. You hate to
Hate to hear
see
that.
that. Yeah.
Hate to hear that.
It shows you again, it's coming at a time when the U.S. cattle herd remains at 75-year lows.
Hmm.
So then it's a significant change in local manufacturing activity.
Pretty wild. Now, this headline here caught me off guard. I'm going to read it. Is USDA Secretary Rollins using political card to keep U.S./Mexico border closed via New World Screwworm? Well, this sounds like some gossip here. What's going on here?
Exclusive to me.
All right. What
I
do you
made
got?
some calls this week and I was surprised to find out, Tommy,
Hmm.
a number of officials within USDA apparently are urging Secretary Rollins to open the border. She doesn't want to. And at least some people are telling me, oh, that's a political card. She thinks it's better politics to keep that border closed because if it's reopened and we do, God forbid, get a New World Screwworm incident, they would
Hmm.
come at her. Uh,
Oh
uh,
yeah. Then
now,
she would be the fall. You
fall
say fall
person.
guy, fall girl, right? She'd be the fall girl, and then that's no way to go out.
No, it's conjecture. It's something she probably wouldn't say publicly, but that's what I'm hearing, so I have to report it. Now, USDA has recently expanded the sterile fly offensive against that screwworm, Tommy. On
Hmm.
Monday, they announced the major step, completing that sterile fly dispersal facility at Moore Air Base in Edinburgh, Texas. She traveled to the Rio Grande Valley to highlight the project. So they're continuing to take defensive action
Hmm.
for sure.
Hmm.
So under that announcement that the flies are targeting outbreaks in northern Mexico will initially be dispersed in the Mexico facility, but this is also going to be released in the U.S.
Jim, it sounds like we're living in a damn sci-fi movie. Release the flies. Release the flies.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, they probably had something like
Well,
that.
we have discussed, and not many people know this unless they've changed their plan, and I don't think they have. When they do reopen that border, it's not going to cut, the animals are not going to flood in. They're going to be
Mm-mm.
very
Mm-mm.
selective what states they allow them in, what states from Mexico too, further south. And also, they're going to have to go through a series of 3, if not 4, separate tests for New World Screwworm. That if they initially fail it, they can go to the next site, a separate site of testing. And if they fail that again, they're out.
Mhm.
They're not
And
coming into the United States. But if they pass, then they go to the next level of additional testing. So whenever we have that border reopened, and it's eventually going to be reopened, uh, they will have, I think, a legitimate plan in place to say, hey, look, we're guarding against a potential incident.
well, that's good. They have a plan. Let's look here. Trump, China, Trump Z Summit, late March, early April. Soybeans continue to rock and roll this week. Look at those spreads, folks. Watch that July Nove. Watch your front month soybeans versus your back.
What are we in July now in beans?
Oh, price check on aisle 2. I shut off my screens. I only shut off my screen so I would not go home with any positions over the weekend. You go ahead and talk. I'll find out July. Just
Well,
give me 10
we
seconds.
had a pretty good rally in beans this week
Yes, we did.
when Trump indicated that he wanted additional China to buy 8 million tons more soybeans this season on top of the million metric tons. Then the South China Morning Post, and that's what got the market going, said that the summit will take place in China in late March or early April. And when I initially read the South China Morning Post newspaper in the wee hours of our morning in Eastern time, I saw that they reported that it would include additional purchases of U.S. soybeans. Then by the time maybe 3-4 hours later, they took that phrasing out. So I don't know whether
Interesting.
Chinese officials got to
You,
them or what.
uh-oh.
Bottom line, I believe that China will buy additional U.S. soybeans. And, that could carry your July futures into the $12 area.
Right. And you had asked, and I was like, how the heck am I going to get prices? I remembered I have the internet on my computer and I can share my screen. I went again to the CME website, Googled soybeans. Here we go. Let's read them. March soybeans, 1134, May, 1149, July that Jim talked about, 1161. I believe it traded as close as almost 1170 today. It went to 1167. 35 cents away from a 12. I like the way that sounds. But then take it to the crop we're getting ready to grow. Jim, the one we're establishing crop insurance on, Nove 26 soybeans, 1115. But I tell you, our viewers and listeners have sold a hell of a lot more beans in their career with a 9 in front of them than 11. So maybe this is a good place to start selling, hedging, and protecting. This is just a suggestion that I had given my clients this week, and many people were in the mood to hedge a few soybeans. Jim.
Yeah, you can't go bankrupt making money. It's my father.
Well, they'll tell you they can't make money at that price, and that's right. But they don't know necessarily what checks the government's going to give them next year.
You have to add that to it. You have to add that to it.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's a shell game, as my friend Paul Nefer says.
Yeah.
He calls it.
Your break even's what?
Well, everyone's break even's different.
Yeah.
Right. Your break even's like your weight. If everyone's weight's different, your weight's your problem, my weight's my problem. I'll say, oh, when's that pill come in so we could take it? All right.
But this is just not a soybean issue. Sorghum, my good sorghum friends, they are having a run up in prices because they need it, because China is coming back to the U.S. sorghum market. They love our sorghum for their liquor products, and they're having a little problem with Chinese corn crop.
They are?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I think there's going to be some residual business in the months ahead for sorghum. So remember a couple of weeks ago, we said, don't get too down. Their trade can give you some price upward. We're starting to see it, Tommy, and I like that.
Yeah. So we'll go from Trump. Let's talk Taiwan. U.S. and Taiwan finalized a trade deal. I didn't even know what the Taiwanese, I guess you would say, flag looked like, but it's a beauty there. Blue in the corner, lots of red, some type of sun popping up. Not bad.
No, and it's a pretty good agreement for both sides, but especially the U.S. It's going to cut tariffs, boost market access for American products in Asia, and a lot of billions of dollars into U.S. energy and technology projects. Now, Taiwan pledged to purchase more than $44 billion worth of liquefied natural gas and crude from the U.S., but they also pledged to open up their market further to American goods, including meat products. So this is very good for beef and pork, dairy, wheat, etc. And they also committed to buy around $15 billion in American aircraft and parts.
Oh, like a Boeing deal and whatnot?
Well, in civil aircraft.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Very good. Well, we'll take it. Now let's stick with this. We're getting deals done. Now I listened to you and Mr. Chip Flory on AgriTalk today, and you said they're getting deals done. Here's another one. Sorghum included in U.S.-India framework.
Yeah, I got a note. In fact, I got an email from the sorghum group saying, hey, we're so excited that sorghum is included in this tentative framework, U.S.-India. Now, on AgriTalk, we did talk about, is this ever going to go the next steps and things like that? And we've seen in the past, Tommy, with India, it always takes not just time, but a long time. But I'm not going to be,
that, Jim? I'm not familiar.
It's just India, because of the sensitivity of trade uh, uh, politically within the country. The farmers over in India are very, very important. And Modi, their president, relies on the farmer vote to get elected and reelected. And they didn't like some aspects of this tentative agreement because they did open up to more U.S. products. Not the initially it was U.S. pulses, which we needed, but then they kind of softened that approach once they saw the reaction. They had demonstrations within throughout India on that one. But bottom line again, we're starting to see, Tommy, some additionality in these trade agreements when it comes to agriculture. We had to wait a while. It's been a long time since what, April last year, once this process really got started. So that's a good thing, and I think we're getting near the end where maybe we can get some stability in trade policy, and the market can look for other things, such as this upcoming summit. Xi Jinping's going to meet with Trump, it looks like, up to 4 times this calendar year. Up to 4 times. Yeah.
We're talking about President Trump meeting with the
Xi Jinping, their
you don't
Chinese
call him the president, you call him the he's president for life. That's not a bad deal if you could pull it off, huh?
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
Like you, Wiesemeyer's perspective, president for life. You can't vote me out. We're not leaving, as they say. But it is. You could see the markets are liking this U.S.-China playing nicer. Now, you keep saying things on this show and other shows that you think eventually, if Trump kind of gets his way, he'll lower the tariffs another 10%. The fentanyl tariff. Talk about that.
Well, yeah, because that, I think they'll talk about this in this upcoming either late March or early April summit. That's at 10%, and if both countries get away from their the remaining 10% fentanyl tariff, China has one on us and we have one on them. Well, if China can prove to Trump that they've taken action to try to ward against some of all these chemicals coming over to make fentanyl, if they release that, if they do away with that 10% fentanyl tariff, then U.S. commodities are competitive with Brazil, very competitive. See, right now we've got that 10 percentage point albatross there. So that's something to really watch out for. And it doesn't just go for soybeans. Again, sorghum, potentially corn, if their corn crop is hurt. Now they have a quota on their corn imports, so that's why they're taking sorghum and other feedstuffs from other countries. But watch that. I keep on saying that.
Yeah, you've been very you've been telling people. Okay, House GOP rebukes.
Yeah,
thank you. Trump tariff on Canada, little impact.
Yeah, a lot of the stories, I know the listeners and viewers probably saw, House gave Trump a major defeat because they voted to overturn Trump's Canadian tariffs. 6 Republicans broke rank. Bacon, Nebraska, Fitzpatrick, Pennsylvania, Hurd, Colorado, Kiley, California, Thomas Massey, Kentucky. And Newhouse, Washington. But my perspective, it's more noise, because the measure faces steep odds in the Senate and an almost certain veto. Even if it did get to Trump's desk at the White House, he would veto it. So they wouldn't have the votes to override a veto. So, but some people say yes, but it's more symbolic. It signals a visible Republican trade differences now. That's true. There's no doubt about that, because the longer these tariffs go on, and as long as it took to show some additionality, people are saying, look, was this worth it? Was this worth all that? Now, the White House seems to think so. And now that we're starting to get some positives. But the bottom line on this one, they are not going to change by legislation Trump's tariffs on Canada. That'll have to come from Trump or the spring corn.
Let me ask you a question about Massey. Is he what they call a rhino, Republican in name
Not
only?
really. That's what's so unusual with him. I'm going to have to.
He's the one who said he's going to stop the new Fed chair from coming in. He was the first one to be like, I'm not voting for it.
And Tillis too.
I think I got him confused.
Tillis.
Tillis was that one. Thank you for
Well,
correcting me.
because he wants the Federal Reserve case to go through
Right. It was Tillis on that, but Massey, yeah,
he's a arch conservative in many areas, but he's a showboat as well, to be blunt.
Okay. So let me re-ask you a question. Is Tillis a rhino?
He's a moderate.
Good answer. All right. Good answer.
And he's not running for re-election.
Uh-huh.
You probably wouldn't get reelected.
I see. I want to pop up a few more headlines, and then this one. What's this, Jim? Endangerment ruling repealed.
Oh, that's a biggie.
Okay.
That's a biggie.
We're towards the end. We only have one more after this.
Because they used the EPA repealed the 2009 finding that greenhouse gases threaten human life and well-being, and that's so-called endangerment. There's that word. That formed the basis for the agency's case to regulate emissions from vehicles, oil and gas, power plants, etc. And Lee Zeldin and Trump, when they announced it, they said it's the largest deregulatory action in American history.
That's this picture right here.
Yes, that'll save Americans $1.3 trillion.
With a T?
With a T.
Ooh,
and
girl.
The looser fuel and emission rules will reduce vehicle costs by more than $2,400 per car in the future. Now, you think that's not big news? It is.
Now, the spin on it is they're going to pollute our skies, Jim.
Well, that's what the activists are saying. But the repeal, though, Tommy, it's almost certain to face immediate court challenge. So we're going to see if this is upheld, if what they announced this week is going to be upheld. And if it is, it's going to sharply reduce the Environmental Protection Agency's ability to regulate greenhouse gas emissions without new congressional legislation. And that's what basically EPA is saying. This should really come from Congress, not from an EPA edict. So what's the bottom line here? For industries ranging from energy to automotive manufacturing, for farmers who are watching fuel and input costs, this outcome could reshape federal environmental policy, Tommy, for years to come. That's how important this announcement is. And that's why I think you saw the bump out at the White House and EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, giving it the importance that it deserved.
Very good. Now, this popped up when you were on with Chip today, and I know you noticed this headline: Supreme Court's next chance to rule on Trump's tariff around the 20th, but you said really more the 23rd, 25th. Explain to everyone again, it's been a few weeks and a few months, why this is so important, and do only in the way Mr. Wiesemeyer, I'm giving you a lot of list here. I hope you're writing this down. This line is going to tie into why he's getting all these other trade deals done so fast, correct?
Yes, because it's given them leverage. And of course, it's bringing in a chunk of money. So this ruling is going to be a major one because it's going to rule on the constitutionality of Trump's trade policy. And it's really ruling on the power split between the executive branch and the legislative branch. Now, it could come as soon as the 20th. That's when they kind of return. And the 23rd when they sit in session. But it could be a very complex ruling. It could just not be a simple black and white, oh no, it's unconstitutional. It could be, they could say the existing tariff funds, and there's hundreds of billions of dollars in the hopper for this one, that remains as is, that the administration doesn't have to offer refunds on those, but henceforward they can't collect them. That's just one possibility of it. Now, the administration keeps saying they have other tools in their arsenal to continue what they're doing, but it'll just take longer. But we got to keep saying from a business perspective, this'll once we get that ruling, it will add eventual stability to the trade policy arena, because it's a black cloud over the trade policy right now, that markets don't know which way to act. And that's just not in the US. Foreign countries, EU, Japan, and others are watching for this. That's how important this upcoming Supreme Court ruling is going to be.
It'll give us clarity.
Yes.
All right, let's do it only the way you can. Your show, finish it up. Leave us something optimistic before you finish. Go ahead and take a little break. But I had so many people come up to me at CattleCon and say how awesome you are. They said how awesome you are, which kind of made me angry. No one said, Tommy, I like you. They're like, that Jim Wiesmeyer's awesome. I'm like, yeah.
I hear it on
well,
you
but
when I go
fun.
out. When I go out, I was in Farm Credit Council in
in
Orlando,
Florida?
Florida. I was at the sugarcane conference in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Had such a good time and ate really good meals there. Red fish, by the way, it was
Really?
delicious. Yes. And then I went through Houston, Denver, all the way up to Palm Springs, California, to be at the CURB meeting with the crop insurance industry. And a lot of people there said that they're listening and viewing the podcast. So that's a good thing. Yeah. And I ended it by my presentation, as I always do, Tommy, with the positives, and we've seen it. Now I just want to say some of the things we've been talking about over the last month or so, we're starting to check them off. The bidding for the acres, I think, is already starting between corn and soybeans. We've got the summit coming up between President Trump and Xi Jinping, and you're seeing the market sensitivity of that. You're seeing Trump encourage Xi Jinping for China to purchase more U.S. soybeans. You're seeing China need more sorghum because their corn crop is down for several reasons. We've seen a series, and we went through some of them. The Taiwan, Indonesia is another big one that's going to be coming up. New trade agreements that's starting to show some additionality for the U.S. Ag sector, including the meats. And those are all good news. Now, we have to kick the domestic utilization in. We talked about still the hurdles ahead for year-round E15. So that's an open-ended issue right now that we're going to have to monitor. Congress, they're off next week. But the 45Z program, the sustainable aviation fuel, farmers in the soybean processing sector, the corn processing sector, they're geared up for this tax incentive program called 45Z. That'll increase domestic utilization. And when you do that, Tommy, that's value added, because you'll crush for the oil. And now we're into something. Now we're in a process where that's more jobs oriented. It brings in the processing plants. We're near a soybean processing capacity now, so it'll encourage the additional, at least give the signal to increase our soybean production processing capacity. All those are good things. Now, not everything's rosy, but those are all pretty good things, and I think you're seeing it not only in the cash market, but in the futures.
That's Mr. Jim Wiesemeyer leaving us with the optimism. Jim, I'll see you next week. And a week after that, we're going to be on the road together in Central Illinois,
in Peoria, Illinois, at the Strom Farm, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm going to start putting that in my daily there. Yeah, Peoria, Illinois. In fact, I just made the hotel reservation. So
Peoria is beautiful this time of year, Jim.
March 4th and 5th. I think the meeting is March the 5th.
Yeah, we'll get it up
and
there.
And then I'll be in Nashville the following week at Stone X.
Excellent.
At Stone X is coming up. So travel ahead.
All right. We'll see you, Mr. Wiesemeyer.
Sure.
See ya.